Stop scrolling right now, because what I'm about to tell you could decide whether you keep your driving license or lose it without even realizing why. This week, the DVLA quietly changed how they check drivers, and millions of people are already breaking the rules without knowing it. If you think this doesn't apply to you, that's exactly why you need to watch till the end, because most drivers who get fined or stopped by police say the same thing right before it happens. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 3 DVLA rules that are catching drivers out right now, what the headlines are not telling you, and the one simple check you must do today to protect yourself. Miss this, and you could be driving illegally without even knowing it. Before you go any further, let me say this clearly. This channel is not for everyone. It is for people like you who want to understand UK rules without confusion, without fear, and without fake headlines. If you are a driver, a parent, or someone who depends on their license, then this channel is made for you. I regularly upload videos on DVLA updates, driving rules, license changes, fines, and important government notices that most people only find out about when it's too late. I break everything down in simple English, so you don't miss anything that could affect your daily life. So please subscribe now and turn on notifications, because I will keep uploading these exact topics for you step by step, so you always stay informed, protected, and one step ahead. Many UK drivers are seeing shocking headlines saying that the DVLA has confirmed 3 brand new driving rules starting this week, and that every driver must know about them or face serious trouble. These headlines sound urgent and scary, and that is exactly why so many people are clicking on them. But before anyone panics, it is very important to slow down and understand what is really happening, what is already in place, what is changing gradually, and what is simply being repeated or exaggerated in social media posts. The truth is not as dramatic as some videos make it sound, but it is still very important, because misunderstanding these changes could still cause problems for drivers if they ignore their responsibilities. First, we need to understand how the DVLA usually works. The DVLA does not normally introduce sudden overnight changes that affect millions of drivers without warning. Most rule changes are announced months or even years in advance, and then slowly phased in. What is happening now is not a sudden shock decision made this week, but rather a combination of reminders, enforcement updates, and gradual changes that are now being taken more seriously. The reason people feel like everything is happening at once is because enforcement is becoming stricter, digital systems are improving, and the government wants more accurate driver records. One of the biggest areas causing confusion is driving license validity and renewal. Many drivers wrongly believe that once they get a license, they can forget about it for 10 years without any responsibility. In reality, every driver has a legal duty to keep their license details correct at all times. This includes name, address, photo, and medical status. What the DVLA is now doing is tightening checks and encouraging faster action when something is out of date. This is not a brand new rule, but the consequences of ignoring it are becoming more serious because systems are now digital and automatic. Another area causing fear is age-related driving rules. Many older drivers are worried that they will suddenly lose their licenses or be forced into tests. This is not true. What is true is that drivers over a certain age have always had extra responsibilities, especially around health and eyesight. The DVLA is simply making sure that people understand these responsibilities better. If a driver is medically fit and honest about their condition, they are not automatically banned from driving. The problem only starts when drivers hide medical conditions or ignore renewal reminders. Medical reporting is one of the most misunderstood parts of DVLA rules. Some drivers think that if they tell the DVLA about a health issue, their license will be taken away immediately. This fear causes many people to stay silent, which actually puts them at more risk. The DVLA does not automatically ban drivers for having a medical condition. Instead, it assesses whether the condition affects safe driving. In many cases, drivers are allowed to continue driving with no changes or with simple conditions like regular checkups. The real danger comes when a driver fails to report a condition and is later involved in an accident. In that situation, insurance can be canceled, fines can be issued, and legal consequences can follow. There has also been a lot of talk about doctors reporting patients to the DVLA. This is another area where people misunderstand the truth. Doctors are not secretly reporting everyone. Medical professionals only have a duty to inform the DVLA if a patient continues to drive despite clear medical advice not to. This is rare and usually happens only when safety is seriously at risk. For most drivers, honesty and cooperation prevent any serious problems. Another major topic being discussed is the move toward digital services. The DVLA, like many government departments, is modernizing. This means more online checks, faster data sharing, and less paper. Many drivers hear the phrase digital driving license and assume their physical license will suddenly become invalid. That is not true. Physical licenses are still valid. Digital systems are being introduced to support, not replace, existing documents. The goal is to reduce fraud, improve accuracy, and make checks faster for both drivers and authorities. What this means in simple terms is that the DVLA wants your information to match across all systems. If your address is wrong, your photo is outdated, or your name has changed and you did not update it, you could face delays or penalties. This has always been the rule, but enforcement is becoming stronger because computers now detect mismatches more easily. In the past, errors could stay unnoticed for years. Today, they are flagged quickly. Many viral videos claim that police can now instantly fine drivers if their license details are wrong. The reality is more balanced. Police already had the power to check licenses, but now checks are faster and more accurate. This means excuses like, "I forgot to update my address," are less likely to be accepted. The responsibility has always been on the driver, not the DVLA, to keep details correct. Another issue creating panic is the idea that new penalties are being introduced this week. In truth, most penalties already exist in law. What is changing is enforcement and awareness. The DVLA and police are reminding drivers that ignoring letters, emails, or renewal notices does not protect them. If you miss a deadline, it is still your responsibility, even if you claim you did not see the reminder. Some drivers are also confused about insurance. Many people do not realize that insurance companies rely heavily on DVLA records. If your license is invalid, expired, or incorrect, your insurance may also become invalid. This can turn a small mistake into a very expensive problem. Even if you are a safe driver, driving with an invalid license can result in fines, points, or worse if something happens on the road. Another subject often mentioned in these headlines is driving tests and learner drivers. While this does not affect all drivers, it is part of the wider picture of stricter control. The government wants to stop test booking abuse, fake resales, and unfair practices. These changes are not happening overnight, but they show a clear direction. Tighter systems, fewer loopholes, and more responsibility placed directly on the driver. What many videos fail to explain clearly is that none of these changes are designed to punish good drivers. The goal is safety, accuracy, and fairness. Drivers who follow the rules, keep their details updated, and act honestly have very little to fear. Problems usually arise when drivers ignore letters, delay renewals, or assume rules do not apply to them. There is also a psychological reason why these headlines feel so alarming. Words like starting this week, confirmed, and must know create urgency and fear. Content creators know this increases views, but urgency does not always mean sudden legal change. Often it simply means that enforcement or reminders are increasing right now. So what should a normal UK driver actually do after hearing about these so-called new rules? The answer is surprisingly simple. Check your license expiry date. Make sure your photo is still valid. Confirm your address is correct. If you have a medical condition that affects driving, check whether it needs to be reported. These steps are not new, but they are now more important than ever. Another key point many people miss is that ignorance is not a defense. Saying "I didn't know" does not cancel a fine or penalty. The DVLA assumes drivers understand their responsibilities when they hold a license. This is why staying informed matters, but it also means not believing exaggerated claims without checking facts. It is also important to understand that the DVLA communicates in multiple ways: letters, emails, online accounts, and government websites all carry official information. Relying only on social media videos is risky because they often mix truth with speculation. If something sounds extreme or shocking, it is always wise to double-check. Many drivers feel overwhelmed by constant rule changes. This frustration is understandable. However, most of these updates are not entirely new laws, but clarifications, reminders, or technological upgrades. When broken down calmly, they are manageable and logical. In simple terms, the DVLA is saying this: if you want to drive, keep your information accurate, respect health rules, and respond on time. That has always been the deal. The difference now is that systems are better at catching mistakes, and authorities are less tolerant of neglect. For older drivers especially, fear spreads quickly. Some people worry they are being targeted. In reality, older drivers who are healthy and responsible continue driving legally without issue. The DVLA does not remove licenses based on age alone. Safety is the only concern. The biggest danger right now is misinformation. When people believe false claims, they either panic unnecessarily or ignore real responsibilities because they assume everything is fake. Both reactions are harmful. The balanced approach is awareness without fear. To be very clear, there is no secret overnight ban, no mass license cancellation, and no sudden rule that applies without warning. But there is increased enforcement, digital checking, and expectation that drivers act responsibly. If you think about it logically, this direction makes sense. Roads are busier, technology is stronger, and records must be accurate to keep everyone safe. A driving license is not just a piece of plastic. It is a legal agreement between the driver and the state. In the end, the message for UK drivers is not panic, but pay attention. Check your details, respond to the DVLA, and do not ignore your responsibilities. If you do that, these so-called new rules will not cause any trouble for you at all. This is why understanding the full picture matters more than reacting to scary headlines. When you break everything down calmly and honestly, the situation becomes clear and manageable. The DVLA is not trying to catch people out. It is simply expecting drivers to take responsibility in a modern system, and that is the real truth behind the headlines that claim everything is changing this week. Stop scrolling right now, because what I'm about to tell you could decide whether you keep your driving license or lose it without even realizing why. This week, the DVLA quietly changed how they check drivers, and millions of people are already breaking the rules without knowing it. If you think this doesn't apply to you, that's exactly why you need to watch till the end, because most drivers who get fined or stopped by police say the same thing right before it happens. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 3 DVLA rules that are catching drivers out right now, what the headlines are not telling you, and the one simple check you must do today to protect yourself. Miss this, and you could be driving illegally without even knowing it. Before you go any further, let me say this clearly. This channel is not for everyone. It is for people like you who want to understand UK rules without confusion, without fear, and without fake headlines. If you are a driver, a parent, or someone who depends on their license, then this channel is made for you. I regularly upload videos on DVLA updates, driving rules, license changes, fines, and important government notices that most people only find out about when it's too late. I break everything down in simple English so you don't miss anything that could affect your daily life. So please subscribe now and turn on notifications, because I will keep uploading these exact topics for you step by step so you always stay informed, protected, and one step ahead.